In 1981, doctors in New York and San Francisco began seeing something they couldn't explain. Previously healthy young men were dying from infections that shouldn't kill anyone. Within a decade, this mysterious illness would claim hundreds of thousands of lives and change medicine forever. This is the story of HIV and AIDS, a medical detective story that spans continents, decades, and one of humanity's most profound scientific challenges. Before we trace where it came from, we need to understand what it is. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, is what we call a retrovirus. Unlike most viruses that simply hijack your cells to make copies, retroviruses do something far more insidious. They insert their genetic code directly into your DNA, becoming a permanent part of you. HIV specifically targets CD4 T cells, the quarterback of your immune system. These cells coordinate your body's defense against infections. As HIV destroys more and more CD4 cells, your immune system collapses. AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is the final stage of HIV infection. It's diagnosed when your CD4 count drops below 200 cells per microliter. Without treatment, a person with AIDS typically survives about 3 years. But AIDS didn't begin in 1981. The virus had been silently spreading for decades. The trail leads back to Central Africa, specifically the Congo Basin, sometime in the early 20th century. Scientists now know that HIV jumped from chimpanzees to humans, what we call zoonotic transmission. The leading theory involves bushmeat. Hunters in the Congo butchered chimps infected with SIV, simian immunodeficiency virus. SIV had to mutate to become HIV. This jump occurred around 1908, give or take a decade. Colonial rule brought massive urbanization to the Congo, particularly Kinshasa. People migrated from rural areas to cities. And critically, medical clinics began reusing needles for mass vaccination campaigns. HIV found its superhighway. For years, scientists believed the virus reached the West in the late 1970s. But preserved medical samples tell a different story. David Carr, a 25-year-old British sailor who served in the Royal Navy. In 1959, Carr died in Manchester from mysterious immune collapse. His tissue samples, frozen for decades, were tested in 1990. They contained HIV antibodies. He is likely the first documented HIV death in the West. Robert Rayford, a 15-year-old African-American teenager from St. Louis. In 1969, doctors were baffled by his symptoms. He died that same year. In 1987, his samples tested positive for HIV. How he contracted it remains a mystery. Arvid Noe, a Norwegian sailor whose maritime career took him to ports across Africa in the 1960s. Arvid, his wife, and their young daughter all died from mysterious illnesses between 1966 and 1976. This was the first documented case of heterosexual transmission. Grete Rask, a Danish surgeon who worked in Zaire during the 1970s. She performed surgeries with limited equipment. She died in 1977. Her case was later confirmed as HIV/AIDS. But how did HIV make the leap from Africa to America? One dark theory centers on Haiti. During the 1970s, a blood plasma center in Port-au-Prince collected blood under unhygienic conditions. Genetic analysis suggests HIV traveled from Africa to Haiti in the mid-1960s, then to the United States by the early 1970s. These early victims, David Carr, Robert Rayford, Arvid Noe, Grete Rask, their deaths went unexplained for years. By the time the world recognized AIDS as an epidemic, thousands were already infected. The virus had been patient, spreading invisibly. Next time, we'll see what happened when HIV finally revealed itself. Visit unbedsidemanners.com for more stories.